Hey everyone, I'm Mack from laughingplace.com, and today we are going to be checking out some toys from Hasbro for Marvel's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse just swung into theaters this weekend, and everyone, including myself, is still buzzing about this movie because it is absolutely fantastic. So I'm really excited to check out some of these toys from Hasbro. We have quite a variety to look at today, so let's get into it. So as you can see, we have two different categories really that we're going to be looking at today. We have the Marvel Legends series figures. We have three of those. Those are going to be the more detailed, sort of more movie accurate figures, more of the collector's items. And then we have the younger audience geared figures that we're going to take a look at as well. We have three of those. And then we have a seventh item that is a little bit different that we're going to play around with. So let's take a look. So we're going to start off with these three figures here. We've got the Spot, we've got Cyborg Spider-Woman, and then we've got, of course, Miles Morales in the center here. These are going to be the more younger audience geared figures. They're going to have more actions to them, a few accessories as you can see here. So we're going to play around with these. Let's start off with Miles. Okay, so here is our Miles Morales figure. Like I said, these figures are going to be more for playing with. They have some more action to them. So this Miles has this web slinger arm on him. So in the package, it just had this piece attached to the arm. Then you have these two pieces come separately in a different little box. You kind of just snap them right in. But let me show you here. This, when you squeeze his legs here, I won't do it fully right now, but you can see how his arm is turning. That's because he launches webs. So if you fully squeeze it, I have to go find that now. Hang on. So yeah, clearly he has some web shooting action here, which is pretty fun. Definitely a fun little toy to play around with. Like you can see, it's not the most detailed figure, but actually that works pretty well for Spider-Verse because the animation in that movie is very, very unique, very different. So it's pretty cool toy here. Still has the look of the character in the film, and then you got this fun web shooting action. I missed. Okay, our next figure is going to be Cyborg Spider-Woman, and this is kind of the same idea as the Miles Morales one. You see the big cartoonish weapon arm here, and it's same action. So you squeeze the legs, except this one, the arm just kind of rotates. So it's not actually launching anything, doesn't have any other accessories or anything like that, but it is a pretty cool figure. So like I said, these aren't going to be as detailed as Marvel Legends series, but still looks pretty good. Not going to have the articulation or anything like that, so it's not going to be posable, but you can turn her head around, move her arms, and then again you have that spinning action in the arm. So fun little figure. What's interesting about this one to me too is this is not exactly the most major character. So pretty fun that it's still included. There are so many Spider characters to be a part of this collection. So Cyborg Spider-Woman made an interesting choice. And finally, as far as this line of figures is concerned, at least, we have the Spot, one of the villains of the film. And I will say first off, this is the only one of this line that I've had a hard time getting to stand up. But again, these are more for playing with than they are for displaying or posing or anything like that. So as I kind of showed you a little bit there, he has the same leg squeezing action, except this one, he's got his arms coming through his portals. So throwing punches from all sorts of different angles. So it's a pretty cool little figure. Also just a fun character. I really like the look of the character. I think they did an awesome job with him in the movie. And, you know, like I said, this wave of figures is not going to be so detailed, but there's not a whole lot of detail you can put into the Spot anyway. So I think they kind of captured the fun of this character with this figure. All right, so that does it for this line of new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse figures. Of the three, I think Miles is definitely the most fun, as he probably should be, with that web launching action he's got to him. The other two are a lot of fun too. I really like the Spot's sort of weird punches. But yeah, Miles is my favorite of these three. Let's move on to the Marvel Legends series. Okay, for the Marvel Legends series, we have three more figures here. We've got Miles Morales in the center. We've got Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, whatever name you want to give her, and then Spider-Man 2099 on the right here. This wave of Marvel Legends series figures actually is 7 figures. We have these 3 here, but there's also Jessica Drew, SpiderPunk, The Spot, and Peter B. Parker available now. So you can check all of those out. But in the meantime, let's get these 3 opened up and take a look at what they can do. Okay, so we're starting off again with Miles Morales. I will say I have opened up quite a few Marvel Legends series figures over the past few years, and Miles is definitely the most frail. He's very skinny, very small, very lightweight figure, which makes perfect sense for the character, especially the way he is portrayed in Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse. He's also, because, not a lot of foot surface to work with here because he has very small feet, a little bit difficult to get to stand up, but I did manage to pose him here. He has a lot of articulation and he is very easy to maneuver. So there's definitely a lot of different action poses you can do with him. Just going to be a little bit tricky sometimes to get him to stand. As you can see, he does come with a couple accessories here. You got a set of alternate hands with some web slinging action to them. And then you've got an alternate head, of course, as well. So yeah, it's a fun new Miles Morales figure with his look from the movie. And like I said, this is the Marvel Legends series. It's going to be a little bit more detailed. So here he is compared to that other Miles figure, which, as you can see, I was a little bit surprised to see actually that it was considerably bigger than the Marvel Legends series one. But you can kind of compare the look of the character. It's definitely more detailed than the Marvel Legends series figure. And I mean, even if you look at the back of them, like it's more finished. You can see the screws on this one here. So collectors are going to want the Marvel Legends series. If you're just looking for a toy for your child to play around with, the other Miles that we looked at first would probably be a better fit. But if you're going to display Miles Morales, this is the one you want. Okay, our next figure is going to be Spider-Gwen, as she's listed on the packaging for this figure here. She also goes by Spider-Woman in the movie and Ghost Spider in the comics and animated series and things like that. But we'll call her Spider-Gwen for now. First thing I thought was interesting about this figure is that she comes with this head, the unmasked head, as sort of the standard, whereas the Miles figure we looked at has the Spider-Man masked head as the standard in the packaging. Both of them have alternate heads with them as well. So here is the Spider-Gwen mask, or Ghost Spider mask, I suppose, because Spider-Gwen is not great for protecting secret identity when you put your name in there. But so here is our Gwen Stacy figure. I kind of had the same difficulties getting her to stand up, but you can see a little bit easier than Miles. Same sort of posability, also one standard web slinging hand here. And then got a couple of alternate hands. They just sort of open, which is interesting because it looks like it would be for an accessory, but there is no other accessory with this figure. But my favorite thing about this is, I mean, the detail, kind of hard to get the focus here, but the detail in this character is just amazing. Like, looks like it was taken right out of the movie. So, I mean, they did just an amazing job decorating these Marvel Legends figures, as they always do. So not surprising there, but these two together, actually, when you do get them into the pose that you want, these are going to be really, really cool figures to display. Okay, and finally, for the Marvel Legends series figures from Across the Spider-Verse, we have Spider-Man 2099. Love the look of this character, the detail in this figure. I mean, so you don't get an alternate head with this one. He has just the mask on, but the character just has such a great look, and they absolutely capture it in the figure. I love the detail with the web cape on the back here that has this sort of translucent coloring and that then fades into red as it gets higher up on his back. And you got the big hooks on his arm here as well. You do have a couple alternate hands, just sort of open hands, not like web slinging action like we saw with Miles. But just also, you can tell too, just a much bigger figure. So here is the Miles compared to him here. Obviously, significantly bigger is Spider-Man 2099. So A little bit easier to get to stand up, but still a little bit tricky because he's a little bit more top heavy than Miles. But again, still have all the same articulation in all the joints. So a lot of posability. You can definitely do a lot of cool stuff with this figure as well. All right, so those are our 3 Marvel Legends series figures from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Tough to pick a favorite out of these 3, but I think I would lean towards Spider-Gwen here. Always loved the look of the character, and then also just great detail in this one. But they're all really, really good. A lot of fun to display. I will say, as I pose these 3 again, Miles definitely gave me the hardest time. But you can make him, he's, again, lots of articulation. You can put him in a lot of different poses. So maybe standing up is not the best way for a spider figure to be displayed anyway. So I'm sure you can make something work. Let's move on to our last item here, which I'm pretty excited to play with. All right, so our last Hasbro Across the Spider-Verse item we're going to be looking at today is this, the SpiderPunk Web Blaster. I have no idea what we're getting into with this, but looks like it's going to be pretty fun to play with. It does play music. There we go. And as you can see on the packaging, it shoots webs as well. So I don't know. Let's open this thing up. Also, I'll show you the art on the back actually first. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's open it up and play around with it. All right, here is the SpiderPunk Web Blaster. They don't have guitar in the name, which is kind of funny. It's just called the Web Blaster. But so it's pretty straightforward. You kind of got a good idea of it as we looked at it in the packaging. So you can play the music right here, which I won't do again just yet. But it also comes with 2 web blasts. So you got one right here. I have one in the chamber here, which is in the top of the guitar here. And then when you pull down on this, it shoots out with some force too. So it's something to keep in mind. But a fun toy here. I mean, it doesn't do much more than that, really. It's just the web launcher here, which, again, pretty easy to load in. You just push the web blast right down into that hole right there. And then, let's see. I'm not very accurate with it, but then you can also, play guitar. Or... oh, it does change things up a little bit. Whoa. I honestly cannot tell if I'm doing anything. I'm going to have to look into this. It didn't come with instructions or anything, but it does seem like it's reacting. So I don't know. Give me 1 second. Let me read into it a little bit more. Okay, so I've played with the SpiderPunk Web Blaster a little bit more. Like I said, there's no instructions for this, so you kind of just have to figure it out on your own. And it does a lot more than what I thought, but it's still, you kind of have to just play around and figure it out, which is, great for, if you're going to have a child playing with this anyway. They're just going to do that no matter what. So regardless of there being instructions. So a couple of things I wanted to point out that I noticed on the back while playing around with it. First off, you do have a spot to store that extra web blast. You just pop it right in there. So we have one in there ready to go. And then you have the backup on the back here. The second thing I noticed, and probably more important, it was on demo mode. So that's why it was just playing that short burst of the music. You can switch it to on, and then it gives you a little bit of a different experience. Same music, but you'll see it does a little bit more. So it does interact with what you're doing on the guitar. So you are kind of playing the guitar, but it does sort of... yeah, so it does a lot of different sound effects, and you can continue to play on here. But it's kind of just hard to get a hang of what you're actually supposed to do with it. But really the idea is that it's going to play music and it's going to shoot webs. So definitely a fun toy, and it does give you that crashing sound effect when you put it down. And then it continues to play a little bit more. So definitely a lot of fun for a younger audience, for sure. I mean, a lot of fun for me for the last few minutes, but also going to continue to play music until you go ahead and switch this to demo mode again. And then you're good to go. Then it'll only play for a few seconds after you hit the button here. So there you have it. That is just a sample of the Hasbro products based on Marvel and Sony's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Again, the Marvel Legends series figures. There are 4 more figures in that wave. There are several other play figures from the movie as well. And then lots of other products, including the SpiderPunk Web Blaster. So lots of great stuff. And if you haven't already, go see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's in theaters now. I will put a link in the description below to our review of the film. It is absolutely fantastic. And then you're going to want to pick up some of these Hasbro products. So thank you to Hasbro for sending us these products to check out and to share with you guys. And be sure to like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, all that fun stuff. We have lots of other unboxing videos, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars or Indiana Jones or anything like that. So be sure to subscribe and check out some of those other videos. In the meantime, thank you everyone, and we'll see you real soon.